Hello, everyone, and welcome live to 3Y TV, tonight's broadcast of the Total Nonstop Racing League. I am Peter Short, and alongside me for tonight's Get Will, Johnny and Vinny 188 is Garrett Gleason. And Garrett, here tonight, Kansas, we're already in qualifying, already a little bit ahead of schedule, but Chuck Sweeting currently going to be rolling off from the pole here.
Well, good laugh for Chuck. I guess just like our viewers, we've missed that, and we're going to join them as they get gridded up here, Peter. But why waste any time? Let's go through the starting order. As we said, Chuck Sweeting will roll off from the pole position. Tom Bourne to his outside in the 16. Ninja Philip Scott in the 99 will start third, with DJ Weeks to his outside in 97 starting fourth. Matt Muir in the 77 will start fifth, and my good friend, and hopefully he's running his Coleman's Care paint scheme, Jake Bustos in the 74 will start sixth. Jamar Dumas will roll off 7th in the 28 machine, with Bill Edwards to his outside in the number 5. Bronson Stafford, the Canadian, in the 61 will start 9th. Jason Freeman, welcome back, 2 weeks in a row. Jason Freeman in the number 20 will start 10th. Jason Schue and Bob Giaquinto round out your top 12. Jonathan Gaston in the 72 will start 13th. Jason Gracias 2 weeks in a row in 14th. Johnny Eckert in the 90 will round out our top 15, with Brendan Bookweld to his outside in 16th. Robert Tripp in 17th, Matthew Rodriguez in 18th, and Floppy in 19th will round out your 19-car field here at Kansas, Peter.
Yeah, pretty good field here. Of course, rolling off at Talladega last week, where we also had a good field, so things looking a little bit up here for the Total Nonstop Racing League. Want to welcome everyone to the channel here tonight. Let's see if we can bring up tonight's race information. There you see it on your screen. 188 miles here on the 1.5 mile racetrack. Current ambient temperature 66 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a little cool, relatively high humidity. And, well, that says, that's supposed to say since. That's a typo on my part. But tonight's race fact is since 2016, the Speedway has hosted the American Royal Barbecue Competition. So I think that's an interesting statistic. Of course, this racetrack, not really old, started off in the NASCAR Cup Series back in 2001. I think its first race might have actually been an IndyCar race, believe it or not, before the NASCAR Series rolled into town late in the 2001 season. Of course, that race won by none other than Jeff Gordon. But it has been a great racetrack ever since. Put on some notable finishes right there in turn number 3 and 4, and I hope that we'll see that again here tonight on 3Y TV. Pace truck heads down onto pit road for hopefully the final time here tonight. We will wait and find out, but it looks like the green flag is in the flagman's hand, and Garrett, we're racing here at Kansas.
Yeah, Peter, off and rolling here at Kansas. We talked about the High Line last week at Talladega. I expect to see these guys using the High Line here again at Kansas. This track has been known as a predominantly high groove racetrack, but we're going to see. I mean, Peter, we didn't get to watch much of practice, so we're going to see where these guys are going to make up their time. But so far, the battle front two, side by side, swapping that lead back and forth as we conclude lap 1.
Yeah, Tom Bourne running his New York Rangers scheme that he had last week at Talladega Super Speedway. Of course, we had a sports-themed race. Looks like Tom Bourne and Philip Scott both electing to bring out their team-themed machines once again this week. Tom Bourne comes around to lead lap number 1. As the field now working lap number 2, Chuck Sweeting, Philip Scott, Bill Edwards in 4th. First side-by-side action, is right back here between Matt Muir and DJ Weeks. Muir on the inside, Weeks on the outside. Looks like Muir is going to take it for now. Here comes Jason Freeman trying to sneak his way through. Looks like he's going to make that pass. Jake Bustos now under fire from Jason Gracias in the Reese's machine right there. And Gracias used to run... I think he used to run that scheme back in the day, actually, at least a Reese's scheme of sorts. Of course, that is a throwback to, man, I'm a Kevin Harvick fan. I should know. I want to say 2006, just before the Shell Pennzoil year when he ran that Reese's scheme. He ran a couple, of course, back in the Busch Series as well, the 2003 season, but I think that one in particular was 2006. Could be wrong. Memory does start to fade just a little bit. Meanwhile, back behind him, Bronson Stafford looking at this good battle in front of him. Matthew Rodriguez on the high side. A little bit of a new look for the number 51 this week right there. I think that actually might be another one of the... I can't remember. Was that maybe a scheme in one of the EA Sports games? Not sure. Can't remember. Someone in the chat maybe can point me in the right direction or not. But that number 51 looking good right now. Closing in on the back bumper of DJ Weeks, who has fallen back 4 spots since the drop of the green flag. Jason Gracias, our biggest mover, along with Matthew Rodriguez. Those two drivers have been marching their way up through the field here in the early running here, as we now are on lap number 5. Things starting to click off quite quickly as Bustos is dropping here, Garrett. The Coleman's carry number 74 started in 6th, now back to 11th as Bob Giaquinto there caught the wall. We got Jamar Dumas going around here on the front stretch. That should bring out the first caution flag of the night. There we go, caution flag in the air. There was definite contact there, Garrett. Let's see what we can do here on this 3-wide TV replay.
Yeah, let's take a look at the replay and let's get that falling Coleman's care car out of the picture here. I have Jamar running that middle groove, Johnny Eckert in the 90 on the bottom. You see a little chaos in front of him, and I think he was just trying to avoid 23, went down, thought he had more room than he did, maybe expecting that car below him to be on the apron there, Peter. Did you see anything different?
No, that's exactly what I saw. Let's get one more look on board with Jamar Dumas. Keep your eyes on that number 23 of Bob Giaquinto right in front of him. Bob smacks the wall right there, and he kind of drops down to try and avoid that number 23 machine, but unfortunately Johnny Eckert was right there and sent him around off the nose. Or sent the number 28 around off the nose. Let's see if we can get on board here with Johnny Eckert, see exactly what the number 90 had to see in this kerfuffle here in the opening 10 laps. And not a lot of contact there. That's the good news, Garrett. It seems like not a lot of contact. Number 28 goes around. Hopefully not a lot of damage on either of those race machines, but that will bring out caution flag number 1 here tonight. There is the number 28 machine now at the back of the field down in the 19th spot. So Dumas now our biggest dropper of the race, minus 12. But he has plenty of time to make it back up. Meanwhile, we have takers on pit road. Tom Bourne, Chuck Sweeting, Philip Scott coming down, Matt Moyer, Jason Gracias, Matthew Rodriguez, pretty much the whole field coming down. There are a couple drivers electing to stay out. Bill Edwards, Jason Freeman, Johnny Eckert, and Jonathan Gaston have all decided to stay on the racetrack. They will inherit the top 4 spots. But Garrett, you have to think maybe just fuel only here in this early stop. You don't want to burn a set of tires if you don't have to. And I don't see any tires going on these race cars, just fuel. As it looks like Tom Bourne down and away. Here comes Chuck Sweeting back behind him, Philip Scott as well. So just picking up a little bit extra fuel here in the early running. That tells us that they might just be close on fuel to kind of making it in that 2-stop window.
Yeah, exactly right, Peter. I think you've called it. These guys are playing a little strategy here. They know where they need to get to on that number for fuel, and this caution here on lap 7, working lap 8, pit stops. They're going to take a chance that they're going to be able to, their strategy's going to play off. But we see guys like Bill Edwards, Jason Freeman, and others staying out, trying to get that track position. Maybe they can score themselves. Well, Jason's not running for points, but I mean, maybe Bill, for example, can win the stage here, get himself those 8 extra points and put themselves in a better position points-wise. And Freeman might just be going for the win. He doesn't care about these getting the stage points or whatever. So I think we have at least 3 different strategies going on right now, Peter. So you're going to have to keep me in line and keep me focused, because I'll probably forget what's going on at some point.
Yeah, DJ Weeks coming down back onto pit road. Jake Bustos also joining him in the Pontiac Grand Prix. We know those Pontiacs are not necessarily known for fuel economy, as the Coleman's Care Grand Prix comes back down to Mark Dumas, Bob Giaquinto, and Jason Schue also using this opportunity to come back to their pit crews to take on a little bit extra fuel. Bill Edwards, though, stays out. Will be our race leader for the upcoming restart. Pace truck lights have turned off. Jason Freeman also down low, staying out, the number 90 and the number 72 also. So Johnny Eckert, Jonathan Gaston. We do have a Jonathan Gaston fan in the chat. Nicholas Marple joining us, and good job, number 72. Nicholas, thank you for tuning on into 3-Wide TV here tonight. How are you? Hopefully you're having a good evening now that you've tuned in. But let us know how you're doing here tonight. We're interested to find out. But Garrett, we're about to get set to go back to green flag action here at this 1.5-mile racetrack. Field doubled up for this upcoming restart. It was pretty frantic on the opening race start. We'll see whether or not that is the case again. Pace truck departs. Green flag in the flagman's hand. Let's see if we can get back to green flag racing. There we go. Garrett, we're racing once again as we head off towards turn number 1.
Yeah, Bill looks like he got a really good jump there, Peter. Going to use that outside line to his advantage, keep that momentum up. Looks like somebody was diving underneath Freeman, but they thought better of it. And they're going to pretty much stay side by side here from turns 1 and 2 as they head towards 3 and 4. But we see Johnny Eckert in that 90 looking under Freeman. He wants to get towards the front of this field, maybe set the pace, and I certainly don't blame him. He always has a lot of speed, and he's certainly capable of leading this thing.
A little bit of contact back there. That, I think, was Gaston in the outside wall, just flirting with it. That number 72 looked a little bit unhappy as he might lose a position or two. Already lost one spot since the drop of the green on the restart to Philip Scott. Now looks like maybe the number 51 of Matthew Rodriguez trying to pick up that spot. This would be for the 5th position right now as they run on the racetrack. Correction, 6th position out there on the racetrack as Rodriguez gets all up out of shape. Gaston actually has to get off the gases to not avoid any contact. That was close, as that's going to stack up the field back here. Chuck Sweeting in the number 75 falling back a little bit on this restart. Now, one thing I was thinking about, Garrett, was just how different these cars are going to drive now that they're back in traffic. We saw Bill Edwards in the number 5 machine decide to stay out. Just wondering what that clean air is going to do to the front nose of his Toyota Camry as the Silent Syndicate racing machine trying to lead from the front here. It's sometimes the best strategy. I mean, it sounds dumb, but sometimes you make your own strategy with that extra downforce you have on the nose. Helps you save your tires. It helps you try and leg it out on some of your other competitors. But at least for right now, Jason Freeman all over the back bumper of the number 5 machine for the race lead, as Philip Scott also all over the back bumper of the number 90 machine. And let's see if we can jump back to that battle for the race lead. There we go. Holy smokes, that cameraman getting kind of thrown up there with that side-by-side racing right up there on that high line. We expect to see that high line be at least the dominant line. It usually is here at Kansas as the run goes on, but we've definitely seen a good number of drivers here in the field. Garrett kind of using all different types of lines. Look at that.
Yeah, these guys are fanned out throughout the field, Peter, and it's beautiful to see these guys kind of in a pack, but not in the same type of pack we had last week at Talladega, but still some great racing side by side. And you can see that damage on the number 51 of Matthew Rodriguez right there.
Like,
but
I don't know what it's doing. It was there, and then all of a sudden it disappeared. It's like Matthew Rodriguez has a cheat switch or something to fast repair. Isn't that the square? Oh, he's in the wall again. That's not going to be good. Yeah, if he didn't have damage before, now he has the damage. What is it? Press square to repair. Wasn't that the button you used to hit back in those EA Sports games? But yeah, you can definitely see that damage now clearly as it appears to be affecting the handling of the number 51 Dodge. As in the wall, we'll see whether or not it catches him again. Yeah, there, he's in the wall again there, Garrett. This is not good for Matthew Rodriguez. He is scraping that wall. Almost looks like a blown tire. It's not. He's going to bounce off that wall, but he's going to lose a ton of positions, now dropping down to 12th.
Yeah, it's a rough go there for the 51. It was fun seeing him run that high groove, and as you know, Peter, and I'm sure some of our viewers know, that there's no room for error up there. You are so close to that wall, and especially on iRacing here, it will suck you in if you get too close to it. But you know you have to run up there at a place like Kansas, because that's where you make your speed up, and you'll see these guys pushing it lap after lap, getting closer and closer and closer, and finally Matthew just ran on the racetrack.
Almost running out of racetrack. That last time was Tom Boren. Philip Scott's now running out of racetrack. He's in the outside wall. The Detroit Lions, number 99, pancaking the right-hand side of his car. Not seeing any visible damage. He's going to lose a couple of positions, though. Going to fall back here to 7th, trying to stop the bleeding as he's got Jason Gracias and Bronson Stafford back behind him. But that high line definitely catching out a couple of our key contenders here tonight. Bill Edwards, though, still pacing up front. Jason Freeman, Tom Bourne now, and Chuck Sweeting recovering. I think last time we checked it on him, he was back in 8th. Now back up to 4th. He was our pole sitter here tonight. Adam Stewart and Nicholas Marple in the chat. Nicholas saying he's doing great. Good to hear that. And Nicholas, I'm glad that I'm commentating here tonight, but I think I'm going to have to probably log back into work a little bit tonight after this is all said and done. Not looking forward to that. So I probably could be better if I wasn't working, but you know, It is what it is. Glad to hear you're having a good night, though. And Adam Stewart. Adam, how's it going? Having a good night here on 3Y TV, hopefully. Oh, geez, that was a big hit. Tom Bourne in the New York Rangers machine. Garrett, that safer barrier off of turn number 4 reached Bob Giaquinto earlier, as now Bill Edwards is in the outside wall, a race leader, and Jason Freeman's going to get a run. These drivers really struggling with the outside wall, as it looks like Jason Freeman, our new race leader.
Peter, this might be like a short track race. Whoever keeps their car the cleanest at the end might be able to win this thing, because they're going to have such an aero advantage on these guys, and there's more damage there. Bill Edwards and Tom Bourne getting into each other. These guys are using up the racetrack, they're using up each other, and they're putting on a heck of a show for us here on 3Y TV.
Yeah, bumping on a 1.5 mile racetrack. I don't think I would have heard that very often, as Chuck Sweeting keeping all 4 quarter panels nice and clean, at least for right now. I'm just surprised Tom Bourne has all the pace in that number 16. We saw him smack that wall pretty hard, but I'm starting to notice a little bit of a train forming back behind this group here, as I'm starting to see the number 90 of Johnny Eckert start to creep back into the picture. Same thing with the numbers, I think that's Bronson Stafford. Yeah, there's Bronson Stafford. It's always hard to keep Bronson and Matt Muir kind of apart from one another. Very similar paint schemes. One's a Ford, one's a Chevrolet. Adam's saying this is his first time here on 3Y TV. Heard about us through Bob Giaquinto. Adam, welcome. Hopefully you can sit back and enjoy the show. I know there's a couple of Monday Night Football games on right now, as that's our main competition, isn't it, there, Garrett? Monday Night
absolutely.
Football.
Absolutely. We are head-to-head with Monday Night Football, and I don't know, that Saints-Panthers game is 6-3 in the second quarter. I think we have more action here out on track here in the Total Nonstop Racing Schue Lawn Care Service Series. And wow, that was an impressive pass there, Peter. I love watching these guys swap positions. It is just, it makes you want to be out there, and then I realize I'm slow, and then I'm best in the booth, and that's our thing. But you know who's not slow? Jason Freeman, running a partial schedule this season, second start of the year, I believe, and checked out to about 1/6 of a second lead on Tom Bourne. So Freeman saving it up, must have really circled this race on his calendar, made sure that his bingo club was off for tonight, and then it's nice to have him here.
Let's look a little bit further back in the pack. There's this battle for the 14th position between Brandon Bookwell, Jamar Dumas, and Bob Giaquinto. Speaking of Bob, the tabletop trio, number 23 Dodge right there, battling for these positions. Been changing spots back there just a little bit. I think he recently got around Matthew Rodriguez. Garrett, that number 51, really struggling with that right front damage. He has fallen from pretty much being in the top 5 now down to 18th position. Just Robert Tripp behind him at this current stage of the game. He's hoping to see a caution flag to get himself some that damage repaired. But speaking of racing, we got this battle now breaking out between Tom Bourne and Jason Freeman for the race lead. Not sure where that race lead went, but it went away in a hurry. Not sure if maybe Jason Freeman caught the wall while we were watching a little bit further back in the pack, but I gotta say, Garrett, that was removed in an absolute hurry. Let's see if we can kind of get an indication here of the gap here. Looks like last time by, a half second faster for Tom Bourne. Surely Jason Freeman either caught the wall or almost caught the wall, had to back out of it or something. Lost a half second in a full lap. That's a lot here when you're talking about sometimes, hundredths of a second deciding first and second in a race. Half second in one lap is momentous. So now Jason Freeman has his hands full with the hard charging field behind him. As you see, this little gaggle of drivers up front gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and even Grassi is starting to make headway on this front pack.
Peter, this is crazy. I haven't seen a pack like this. Maybe it's similar to maybe like a Vegas though, but with these cars, I'm kind of shocked that these guys are able to run in a pack and get them to turn and not run into each other more than they already have. But Bill Edwards running into the wall again. There is not going to be a proper fender in the field at this pace, but keep an eye on that number 1, Jason Gracias, multiple-time TNR champion, creeping up into this battle. I think he's going to have something for these guys as we take a ride with Bronson Stafford and the Hugger Oranges machine. And just watching these guys in front. You're looking to get a run and keep your run, not have to let go of your throttle or do any kind of crazy maneuvering because these guys check up in front of you. And that's the key, Peter, finding that clean air and not losing your momentum. But wow, we have another one into the wall, looks like.
Yeah, that is the number 16, still struggling here as we ride on board with Bronson Stafford, mowing the lawn like Schue's lawn care service. Let's jump up to Bronson Stafford as he just got passed by the number 75, our pole sitter here tonight, none other than Chuck Sweeting, winner of a couple of races so far this season, as Chuck has a good battle right in front of him for the race lead. That is the number 90 of Johnny Eckert, who qualified down in 15th position. It was an abysmal qualifying run for the number 90 machine, but he has turned it around here in the early running, trying to get that race lead sideways out of turn number 2. That's going to open the door here for Chuck Sweeting to maybe have a look here on the high side. Both lanes, both the top side and the low lane, have appeared very racy here tonight, Garrett, and that has really been putting on some great racing as Freeman able to clear the number 90 off of turn 4, but they're thinking about 3 wide on 3 wide TV.
3 wide on 3 wide TV, and Peter, that was coming to this rolling stage there, so these guys were trying to get every point, the guys that's running for the championship, and our first 30 laps, but have not disappointed at all as far as the action goes, and we're going to see the strategy start to come into play with these guys in their pit stops and using their 3 sets of tires as they try to get to this. Oh, Peter, we have a huge accident. Garrett, be quiet. We have a lot to talk about. Let's cue up this replay.
And I wonder if that might have been Jason Freeman trying to come down pit road. You just mentioned pit road. And let's see if we can get this one on maybe 3 wide TV. I think Freeman's trying to come down onto pit road, and maybe the number 90 of Eckert didn't know, got underneath the number 20. Bronson Stafford heavy contact there. Jonathan Gaston nowhere to go. Look at Philip Scott getting a piece of that. Look at Jason Gracias just barely getting out of the way for that one. Let's see if we can go on board with maybe... I was going to try and go on board with Jason Gracias. Look at this. He locks up the brakes, able to just go into the grass, minimize the damage. But that was probably the biggest accident we have had on 3 wide TV here in the Total Nonstop Racing League in quite some time. Look, yeah, I have to think that the number 20 was trying to come down pit road. I think Bill Edwards was also coming down pit road. Remember, Garrett, those 2 drivers elected to stay out under the one and only caution flag that we have had here tonight. Let's see if maybe we can get a cockpit view of this and see exactly what Gracias was trying to do. Yeah, he's trying to get down there below the apron. Just had someone tucked up behind him. Not sure if they weren't communicating. Of course, as a driver, one thing you want to do when you come down onto pit road is to communicate. Hey, I'm coming to pit road. I'm coming to pit road. Coming to pit road this time. That type of thing. And I think that unfortunately did not go to plan for these drivers as Chuck Sweeting is down and away. Bill Edwards down and away. Gracias now up into 3rd by avoiding that accident, but that really damaged, about 5 of our top 8 cars there, Garrett? I mean, that's a pretty substantial accident. It's
a very substantial accident. I don't think we'll see a couple of these guys back out there tonight. We'll have to see the extent of the damage. In the 99, it looked like he got through, but it could be deceiving. But like you said, Peter, just looked like the 20 was coming to pit road. Not sure if he communicated that as well as he needed to, or if it was a last second, oh boy, I'm going to run out of fuel. I can't make it that extra lap. I better get on pit road. And then everybody else was just collateral damage. And you hate to see it, but we always talk about an accident is somebody's loss and somebody's gain. Well, like you said, Gracias bumps up to 3rd. Jake Bustos up to 4th. Jamar's up to 5th. I mean, this field is shuffling now. That guys that were maybe running more conservative, trying to just get a top 10, now you have that chance at the top 5 potentially with these 5 cars or so being out or damaged. So we're going to see. It's going to shake up, and we have a long way to go.
Bronson Stafford and Jason Freeman have both fallen 1 lap down with their extensive repairs that they had to do to those race machines. So tough break for them. Pace truck lights continue to twinkle. Let's see maybe if we can get a quick word with one of the drivers affected. Garrett, let's see. Should we get Freeman up here?
Certainly, if we can. Peter, we'll give it a shot.
Jason Freeman, Peter Short, 3 wide TV booth. Got a copy?
Yeah, I got you there.
Well, it looks like maybe trying to come down pit road there led to kind of getting run over. Kind of talk us through what was going on with the Suave machine. It wasn't very suave tonight, unfortunately.
No, I mean I was happy to be running as good as I was. It's only my third race back in like 5 months. But yeah, he was diving in there in the bottom. I knew I had to get to the bottom because I had a pit, and I got down to where I only had 1 lap of fuel left, and I called out pits going down the backstretch, but I'm not sure if he didn't hear me or what, but everyone else said they did.
Well, that is a tough break for you, but a good return here to the TNR. Definitely showing some pace, like you said, on your return. Hopefully we see you for some of the more races going forward.
Yeah, hopefully I can make a few, but thanks for what you guys do and allowing me back.
All right, well, that's a tough break here for Jason Freeman, who was the race leader when that accident did happen. But Garrett, he had his hand forced. He had to come down pit road. Otherwise, he was going to run out of fuel. You had no option, really.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, Pierre. And like you said, if he called out and 90% of the field hurt him, it's hard to blame him there. But also, when you're running that close, it's hard to give. It's hard for somebody to make that judgment that, oh, if somebody's going to dart down pit road immediately here, I have to go up certain height when there's other cars racing around you that you might bump into. And that was a very sloppy way of explaining it, but I hope at least some sort of picture in people's heads of what happened there. But like I said, Peter, some of these guys are going to have a shot that might not have ordinarily had a shot, and we're getting ready to go back green. Let's see what we got.
So our pole sitter, Chuck Sweeting, gets us back going here on the restart, ending the second caution period of the night. Heads off into turn number 1. Good restart for him. Bill Edwards and Jason Gracias side by side. Tamar Dumas. Good recovery for the number 28. Remember, he was spun around. Jason Schue inside the top 5. And another caution flag has come out. That was very, very quick. Not sure if someone maybe spun their tires in the background. Maybe I wasn't looking exactly at what was going on. This is further back in the pack. This is Matt Muir in the number 77 machine. All rolling, all's fine. Gets a little nudge from the number 97, a Mike Floppy Tellier, and it goes around on the front stretch. So the number 77 goes around for a spin, and he will get himself back lined up behind the field as third caution flag period waves. Just as I say, the second caution period ends, the third caution period comes out. So some of these drivers, I think that was probably the best break for this driver right here, Jonathan Gaston, who was hustling to catch up to the field after getting some damage repaired after being involved in that last accident. Nicholas Marple has actually asked to see whether or not we can get a interview with Jonathan Gaston, just looking to see if Jonathan is actually in the Discord. And see, I don't see... Oh, I do see Jonathan. Let's see if we can get a quick word with driver of the number 72. Jonathan Gaston, Peter Short, 3Y TV booth. You got a copy?
I sure do.
Well, you got a fan favorite in the chat. We got Nicholas in the chat asking for an interview. Of course, you were involved in that accident just a little while ago. How much more damage do you think you got on that number 72 machine? You think you're going to be competitive here tonight, or do you think you're going to be kind of nursing an injured horse for the rest of the night?
I think I'm going to be injured. I still got about 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, that is a significant amount of damage. Hopefully you can get some of that fixed here under this caution flag. I'm sure you're happy to see the caution flag to come right back out. But it was a good run for you. You're running up there inside the top 10. Kind of tell us about how the car's driving here tonight.
I like the way it's driving. I really like when the tires fall off and guys start slipping and sliding. I feel like that gives me an advantage with my dirt background. I felt like I was competitive, at least top 5, but unfortunately got caught up in that little bit of an incident there.
Yeah, of course, we've seen you with some good runs so far this season. Definitely looked like tonight could have been the night for that number 75 to break onto the podium, if not better. But definitely kind of shifting gears now. If you do have a wounded machine for the rest of the night, focus becomes points. Kind of from a mental standpoint, What are you going to kind of focus on for the rest of the race?
I'm going to fill this thing up with gas every time I get a chance, and maybe I can steal a few spots once I get it fixed and just kind of stay on the track when everybody else pits, maybe.
That sounds like a good plan. We'll see how it all works out for you here tonight. Best of luck here. Anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Just give a shout out to all my students if they're watching. Might give some extra credit for this tomorrow.
Well, there you go. You heard it here on 3 Wide TV. Get extra credit. Do I get any extra credit? I'm the broadcaster. I
can give you some.
I hope so. Okay,
For
good.
for working with me, you should get some kind of medal from the president or something. But
Yeah, working with Garrett's a chore. But best of luck there, Jonathan. Hopefully things turn around for you tonight.
Thank you.
All right, well, we'll let him get back to his crew here on the Discord channel. And that number 72 does look like a nice ride. And unfortunately, a little bit more banged up than he would so want. Pace truck lights expected to turn off here momentarily. And hopefully get back to green flag action in about a lap from now here, Garrett.
yeah, these guys are have. Let's try this again. Okay, Garrett, go ahead. Well, Peter, these guys have to be getting restless after that quick yellow right after the previous yellow. So I think these guys are going to take a couple laps to get back in their rhythm. I mean, these guys have newer tires on now. They were used to 30-lap-old tires or so. So it might take a little bit of an adjustment. We're going to see these guys using up that track again, and we'll see some more marks on the wall. And I want to see what Bill has up here for the 75 of Chuck Sweeting. Usually when Chuck gets up to lead, it's hard for anyone to even come close to passing him. So Bill, Jason, Jamar, we got Bob and Schue up in the near the top 5. This is going to be crazy, and I have a big smirk on my face for this thing to go back green because I'm excited to see these guys mix it up.
Of course, we will be giving out more stage points, I believe, if memory serves me correct, at the end of lap number 60. Is that correct here, Garrett?
Correct, sir.
All right, so lap number 60 will give out the second round of stage points. No stage cautions like they have in real life NASCAR, but we still give out the points. Pace truck onto pit row. We're about 20 laps away from giving out those stage points and about 23 laps away from the halfway mark as Chuck Sweeting gets a good restart, able to get himself a couple of car lengths between himself and Bill Edwards off into turn number 1. Best Battle is back behind them. Look at Jason Gross. He's already going up to the top side of the racetrack. Bob Giaquinto stuck in the middle. He's got the 51 machine. Matthew Rodriguez on the high side. Just curious to know if Matthew Rodriguez decided to come down pit road. He pitted on lap number 34. Now, I'm not sure if he took on tires or not, but that number 51 looks like it got shot out of a cannon. Surely he has fresh tires on that Dodge. I don't know. We'll have to keep an eye on that. We got one car in the wall. That's the number 28 machine, Jamar Dumas. Look at the number 47. Looks like Tellier there having to avoid Dumas getting stuck in the wall. We call it wall glue because once you're in the wall, Garrett, it's hard to get away from it. You're kind of stuck in it. You're glued to it. And that's what happened to Jamar Dumas there as now you see right side scrapes on the number 28 Texaco Haviland Ford Taurus. Hopefully he's able to battle back from that. Meanwhile, back behind him, that's Philip Scott in the very banged up Detroit Lions Dodge. Looks like he just went 4 quarters against the Packers.
Or played the Seahawks and lost yesterday, and as a Seahawks bettor, I mean that was a great game for me, but a rough game for the Lions there and Philip Scott. And his weekend into the new week is not getting much better, as that 99 is going to have to limp around here for another 80 or so laps. But I like Peter, Schue, Bob G. These guys mixing it up inside the top 10, and they have decent pace. And you'll love to see it. Looks like Schue got a little squirrely there. Bob's trying to make the move, and everybody just jockeying for track position. Floppy, last week's winner, not running as well as I expected. I expected them more so towards the top 5, but he's got plenty of time to get there.
Yeah, it was a stellar finish last week at the Talladega Super Speedway. It went all the way to the very, very, very end of that race. We had cars wrecking across the start-finish line for the win. It was a lot of fun. If you did not go see that, make sure you check the 3 Wide TV archives and scroll to the end of the race if you absolutely have to. We'd appreciate the view here on 3Y TV as Jamar Dumas kind of just hanging out for right now behind the Canadian of Tellier. Of course, in front of him is the Canadian of the number 61 machine. That's Bronson Stafford, who is currently being scored about 5 laps down. First car 1 or more laps down. Jason Freeman not yet returning to the racetrack, so Bronson needs a couple of caution flags to get himself back in the mix, and that's not going to help out as sparks fly from the right side of the Hugger Oranges. He just wanted to hug the wall out of turn number 2, Garrett.
You're supposed to hug the oranges, not the wall, but I mean, you have to hug the wall to make speed, and I don't think the oranges are going to do anything for you. So, Peter, it's one of those philosophical things that we get into here a lot on 3Y TV, but I don't know. You're smarter than I am, Peter. Make it all make sense.
Philosophical questions about hugging walls and oranges. I don't think I can actually make up anything there. Speaking of orange, though, the number 1 machine of Jason Gracias is plenty orange with the Reese's machine. Just got himself past Matthew Rodriguez. Matthew kind of flew out of the cannon, so to speak, there on that restart. Got himself up into the top 5. He's still in the top 5, but he did lose that spot to Gracias, who is starting to plug away and knock on the rear bumper of the number 16 of Tom Bourne. Tom, of course, started on the front row alongside Chuck Sweeting, who is our current race leader as things run. One driver I wanted to mention is Brandon Buchwald. Solid run for him here tonight in the Dallas Legion machine. I believe we found out last week that that is a Ultimate Disc League machine. As I'm not sure why iRacing is deciding to stutter so much. Hopefully that fixes itself. I'm not seeing any connection issues or anything on my end, but that is Ultimate Disc League, which I believe is analogous to at least what a lot of us call Ultimate Frisbee. Could be wrong in that.
You're probably offending a bunch of people by saying that, Peter. Let's just end it right there.
It's like the Frisbee golf versus disc golf people, you know? Or I think they even might call it something else. But yeah, I probably am offending quite a few people. But of course, last week we had Sports Week, and that was the sport and team that Brandon Buchwald decided to throw on his number 96 machine. So far, so good for his number 96 here tonight as he's running in the 8th position, right in front of Mike Floppy Tellier. Meanwhile, in front of him, things kind of sorting out, at least for right now. A single file for the front 5 as, what's happened to Matthew Rodriguez? Let's see if we can figure out if what just decided to spur my software to say he had a big moment. And let's see if he did or not. Garrett, why don't you walk us through what exactly happened here?
Well, we know Matthew's nuts, so let's say, yep, just a couple of slaps of the wall there, and then pulls a Johnny Williams, as this is the Get Well Soon Johnny and Vinny race. And does he make this corner? Yes, he did. So not horrible. I've seen Matthew do a lot worse, and he knows what to do to get on 3Y TV. And is this live, Peter?
This is live.
So he did it again. I think he listens in, Peter. And every time we say, "Oh, Matthew Rodriguez," yeah, he runs up near the wall all the time. He's like, "I'm going to get my sponsor on TV." Slap, slap, slap. Carries on. Goes and gets the damage fix. Comes back and does it again. Look at this racing, though. Wow.
You know, there's that song, "Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy." Well, I think here tonight it's "Save an Orange, Ride the Wall." I think that's... It doesn't roll off the tongue as well, though, but, you know, it is what it is. Meanwhile, back here, battle for position breaking out as Dumas has got himself past Mike Floppy Tellier. They do have the lap car of Bronson Stafford kind of in the mix in this battle for 8th, as Tellier now thinking about going 3 wide, gets underneath Jamar Dumas and trying to take the track position from Bronson Stafford. Not for position here, but at least for right now, the True North number 47. I like that black and gold scheme. Absolutely love it. It definitely has some good pop to it. I'm just still surprised that Tellier doesn't have a AJ Allmendinger Red Bull throwback on that Toyota Camry. It leaves me scratching my head because I don't think you will find yourself a bigger AJ Allmendinger fan than Mike Tellier. Is he able to squeak on by in that number? Oh, Stafford in the wall again. Tank slapper Saving Orange, ride the wall out of turn number 4.
This wall's getting ridden harder than Doze's girlfriend at this point, Peter. But needless to say, it's not. We're not done yet. As we look at Bob G's up into it, and we're gonna have one of those Maury episodes to determine who is the father after the end of this thing.
I don't know, but that wall as Tellier gets really tight there in the middle of 3 wide. Bookwald's tight against the wall. They gave each other just enough room. And this is the best 3 wide action I think we've had on 3 wide TV here tonight, as they've been almost 3 wide now for half a lap. They sort things out as they head off towards turn number 1. Brandon Bookwald on the high side now of Giaquinto, as Bob's starting to fall back as Rodriguez gets loose up off the corner again. That number 51 really struggling. He's going to lose a spot. Tellier gets on by. Bookwald comes on by. Now Giaquinto looking for a way past Rodriguez, not able to find it, as a couple of the Dodge Intrepids run into problem. Look at this driver right here, Jake Bustos. He's been having a quiet night in the Cummins Care Pontiac. Just wondering if maybe he's thinking about a little bit different strategy, maybe saving fuel in that number 74, or maybe trying to stretch it long. We'll have to wait and see whether or not that's the case, as in front of the Bronson Stafford going around the Canadian driver into the inside wall. That's a heavy hit. The caution flag waves for the 4th time here tonight, and I think that is going to do it for Bronson Stafford's number 61. Garrett, I think he's done hugging walls and hugging oranges here tonight, as Rodriguez caught the wall in front of him. A little bit of a clip there from Giaquinto, and that is heavy hit into the inside wall. Reminds me of what, maybe a little bit less violent than what happened to, I think it was Jeff Gordon here back in the day, but that was still a pretty hefty hit.
Yeah, that was a huge hit, and that's another teammate-on-teammate crime there. Matthew Rodriguez, Bronson Stafford. And Peter, I'll tell you what, these walls are taking such a pounding. There's no way they're as tight as they were when we started this race.
Meanwhile, here we go, looking, just tried to back up, tried to back off of it, nothing doing. Right into the back of Rodriguez, as Rodriguez really scoots away from it without any major damage. Let's go on board quickly with Rodriguez looking out back. There's the wall, there's the 61. See you later, Bronson. And it looks like Bronson's night is indeed done here on 3 Wide TV. Drivers on pit road right now. And Garrett, I'm just looking up right now. We are close to lap number 60. I will think that caution would end the stage if my math serves correct. So we think Chuck Sweeting will take home the points for winning stage number 2 here tonight. Finishes second in stage number 1 and first in stage number 2. Now, this is an interesting call. We had some drivers decide maybe 2 tires or no tires was the best strategy. Mike Tellier, DJ Weeks, both off pit road, first and second. I don't know about that call, Garrett. I don't know if 2 tires are going to do it for you unless they are going to award stage points at the end of lap number 60 still, but I don't see us going back green. I would think that the stage points would be awarded when the caution flag flew because of that, but I don't know. I might need to reread the rule book.
Peter, as the guy that mostly took credit for the rule book that Jason Gracias wrote, within 5 laps of our stage break would be enough to warrant the distribution of points, and I'm sure Mike came over the radio and told these guys that this would be the stage and that wouldn't matter. But Mike, of all people is the one that did the different strategy here, and I'm also curious. You think we could have a word with him? I think that'd be good for us and our viewers.
With Mike?
He might know what's going on. He is the on-track administrator.
All right, Mike, what's going on? Be the short 3 Wide TV booth.
Well, I'm about to pit and get my tires. I just just took fuel only to get out front here, and then I'm going back down and getting my tires to go back to where I should be because I'm slow tonight. I don't know. I don't got it. It's not Talladega and it's not a short track, so I'm slow.
So this was not a strategy for stage points because the caution was the stage, correct?
Yeah, correct. So
Okay.
when that caution came out, I think it's 58 when we cross the line is when the stage point will be given out. But
Mike, we thought you were pulling this grand strategy. You got to tell everybody that the stage break was still the stage break, and you're getting yourself 8 bonus points. And as somebody who needs to cheat to get ahead, I definitely would have supported that. But Peter and I just wanted to get that clarification, so we appreciate you explaining that to us. And I don't think you're as slow as you think you are. I think you're going to be in contention for a top 5 by the end of this thing.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Mike, you could probably be half asleep and you'd still be faster than Garrett.
Well, I mean, I'd be faster than his Giants defense, anyways.
Oh. Why?
And
Why
the offensive line. That offensive line. I'll tell you what, they don't know what the Cowboys defensive line is. I mean, they were like afraid of them or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't actually watch football. I just wanted to rag on Garrett one more time before I go back green here. So, wow, a lot of cars came down here with me. Holy crap! I thought I'd be the only one. Wow, look at all these guys.
Well, they think you have some kind of secret strategy. That's why, Mike.
Right, I guess I led the what is it, the sheep herder down pit road? She's like, wow.
Yeah, but you're still behind Matthew. So Rodriguez is the one who just caused that caution. So you probably have to give him some grief for that.
Oh no, I don't got to worry about that. He's I'm pretty sure he's like out of tires. He was doing something silly, and I don't know what happened there in the caution. It's dumb, anyways. I was hoping to get a green flag run. A lot of us were, but here we are. What, third caution of the night? That's kind of rare for us.
Well, we're down to only two Canadians in the field, and one of those is actually leading the race, in Brandon Buchwald. So let's go, Garrett. Let's leave Mike to his strange Canadian strategies, and let's go figure out what the other Canadians doing up at the front of the field. Mike, good luck.
Thanks, guys.
Well, from one Canadian to another, Brandon Buchwald is our race leader. And wildly, Garrett, we have only 2 cars side by side for this restart. This has me scratching my head. But Brandon Buchwald leads the race here at Kansas for the first time here tonight as our top 3, Buchwald, Giaquinto, and Schue.
Let's get up and lead this thing, Bob G. I mean, as much as Brandon Buchwald, I'm a fan of all these guys. I'm glad to see him leading. But come on, Bob G. Take that lead under green, brother. I need to see this. This is like on my bucket list to call Bob taking the lead here on 3Wide TV, Peter. You got to do it before they get there, bud.
Well, not this time, as the tabletop trio Dodge follows the Dallas Legion Chevrolet on the front stretch. Buchwald with a good restart, able to scoot out in front. Clean air on the nose of the number 96. But here comes Bob to the inside, looking down the backstretch, Garrett.
Peter, this is better than the race for the win. I wanted to see him nose ahead at the start-finish line. Give this old man some happiness. I need this. The Giants are going to go nowhere this season. Peter, is he going to do it? Oh, so close. He might have done it.
I think Bob Giaquinto was credited with leading that lap, leading lap number 63. Cross flags in the air. Bob leads at the halfway mark. Here comes Tom Bourne for second underneath Brandon Buchwald. As a lot of our players that we've usually seen here tonight have really fallen off the pace. Have to think maybe, just maybe, we're in a fuel save realm. And I'm not too surprised. I think it was around lap number 33 or so when Jason Freeman was trying to come down pit road. So I think we have drivers throughout the field trying to save fuel to maybe make it the rest of the race in just one more stop. But if you're Bob Giaquinto or Brandon Buchwald, maybe you haven't had the pace here tonight as some of the others, go out, lead this thing. Go out, get the lead, hold on to it. But Tom Bourne, he's wanting to do that too.
Yeah, Tom wants to swap this lead with Bob, but that's so cool to see Bob leading. And if only I could turn off the lights like I did at Phoenix, we would be able to give Bob a nice win. But it's still impressive effort by the 23, the 96, even the 3 was up there for a while. And it makes me feel good as a league owner and administrator that to see guys getting better and mixing it up and getting more confidence to run up front. Because I've been there, and I guess I still am there, where I get to the point where I'm like, I don't want to mess up anybody's race up the front. I don't deserve to be there. But this type of racing gives you the confidence that, hey, I race with these guys every week. I'm clean. I deserve to be up there. I mean, here's 2 of the best right here, Jason Gracias and Chuck Sweeting, racing that high line, trying to make up some time. But are they also saving fuel, like you said, Peter? And if anybody knows, it'll be these two veterans drafting for maybe some fuel mileage.
Yeah, Chuck Sweeting and Jason Grassi is currently riding in 11th and 12th. That is not where you would expect to see a former series champion at Gracias, and of course Chuck Sweeting, winner of a couple of races so far this season. But I think a different strategy really being paid out here, as you've got kind of tortoise in the hare going on. These are the hares trying to save fuel. Then you got your tortoise out front. That's Tom Bourne, and you can see, based on the track map, bottom right-hand corner of your screen, a big gap forming between Chuck Sweeting in the number 75 and the last car of this lead train. That is the number 99 of Philip Scott. So definitely a couple of strategies being played out. You'll love to see different strategies on 3-Wide TV. That's what keeps us coming back week after week as we are completing lap number 69 here at the Kansas Speedway. Want to give a shout out to both Johnny Williams and Vincent Valvano, both of those drivers under the weather here tonight, unable to take the green flag at the Kansas Speedway. Of course, want to give a shout out to Adam Stewart, RC Planes in the chat. Will Ratcliffe joined us. Will, how are you doing here tonight? Let us know in the chat. Same thing with RC Planes. Good to see you as always, RC Planes 59. I think RC Planes, did Philip ever give you the Discord link? Did you ever sign up for the Discord link for the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series so we can get you in the booth one night? If he did, shoot me a message or something on Discord. Send me a direct message or something, a DM. Slide it to my DM so I can get you up into the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast booth one night. But good battle up at the front of the field. You see that gap continuing to grow on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. In fact, some drivers really back there continuing to, I think, slow down. Maybe not saving enough fuel as they wanted, but we will see how that all plays out as the race goes on. Of course, really, if you go for broke, you don't have to save fuel, but you might have to come down onto pit road for a splash of gas. If you come down for a splash of gas, Garrett, it kind of comes to question, is that time lost on pit road versus the time lost saving? Which one's worse? Do you lose more time one way or the other? That's what's going to win you the race here tonight.
Well, Peter, I'm certainly not here to do math, but I think you always run the risk when you're saving fuel to put yourself, if you don't do the perfect math in your head, you take the risk that you put yourself behind these guys. They're going to eventually have to stop and get either more fuel or save time that way. You're running such a slow pace out there that you're costing yourself time, and it gets to a point where you cost yourself more time than it would be worth with the fuel save. So I don't know, Peter. We're going to see how it all works out together here on 3Y TV. But some very smart and very talented drivers are in fuel saving mode. So personally, I would lean towards that strategy being the correct one. But it doesn't always work out. We've been surprised before. I mean, we've seen changes in this iRacing dynamic where short pitting versus long pitting. There's been all sorts of different changes that we've learned and adapted to. So some guys might know something that maybe a few of their competitors don't. But we should be coming up on at least one of our answers soon with the set of pit stops within, I don't know, 15 or so laps.
Yeah, the leaders were on pit road on lap number 60. So Tom Moran pitted then. Chuck Sweeting pitted on lap number 60 as well. Same thing with Jason Gracias, Johnny Eckert, that group back there. I think we've been seeing about 30 to 31 laps. So if we go green flag, like you said, Garrett, pit stops probably in about 15 or so from right now. Of course, if you do come down and have to make that final set of stops, well, maybe you can throw an extra set of tires on that. Will be a little bit longer, of course, of a stop. However, maybe you only take 2 tires. Maybe that will make up the difference. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes, but hopefully we see some different strategies at play as we got this side-by-side battle for second. Here comes Brandon Buchwald, the Canadian driver, working his way underneath Bob Giaquinto. This is the battle for second. Like I said, Bill Edwards there in the background in the Silent Syndicate Racing Toyota Camry. He's been in the top 5 a lot of the night. Not sure if he's saving fuel or not in the S2R machine, but at least for right now, he's staying up in the mix inside the top 5. Matt Muir, haven't said a lot about the number 77, started in 5th, running in 5th. Matthew Rodriguez, who's supposedly out of fresh sets of tires. He's up in 6th for right now. Jamar Dumas and Philip Scott, who was involved in a heavy accident earlier in the race, and Mike Floppy Tellier, we talked with him. Almost rounding out our top 10, it is Jason Schue, who does round out our top 10, back behind Mike. So it's a pretty big gap back to Robert Tripp, an even bigger gap back to, not an even bigger gap, but still a gap back to Chuck Sweeting, Jason Gracias, and Johnny Eckert right there on the center of your screen. There is Tom Bourne still flying around this racetrack, putting in some very good lap times. Let's see if we can bring up the track map once again. And interestingly enough here, Garrett, that number 16 has, I'd say, about a third of a lap gap on the number 75 of Chuck Sweeting. We think Chuck is probably the first driver electing to try and save fuel. We're about 2/3 of the way through a fuel run. We think we go about 2 full fuel runs. That would mean that the 16 is just about on pace to be about a lap faster than the number 75 of Chuck Sweeting. If that holds true, he would have to come down onto pit road and only lose about 30 seconds. Pit lane time is about 34 seconds. So just thinking, out loud, it seems doable but close. Doable but close for Tom Bourne if he can continue to pull away from the number 75 at the rate he is doing so. On whether or not this will be the winning strategy, even if he has to come down and take on a splash of fuel. So only time will tell, as we are now working our way through lap number 80. We'll make it 45 laps to go as the number 16 flashes across the stripe right there. Looking good with that New York Rangers scheme on the hood. And finally, a New York team that does something more than the Giants.
No, I have no argument. The Giants stink. The Yankees stink. I don't really want to talk about my sports fandom. Although, hey, at halftime yesterday, the Giants had me ready to be sick tonight and not make this broadcast or any broadcast in the future. So I'm glad they were able to come back. And Tom Bourne does not need to come back because he is exactly where he needs to be out front, leading this thing by about 2 seconds. And we talked earlier about some of the damage on that car. It doesn't seem to be hurting the speed all that much. It's going to come down to strategy because the speed is there.
Yeah, speed is definitely there. Tom Bourne, of course, started on the front row here tonight. Started in second. And so it's not like he is slow by any means. They're definitely now lugging it out on Bob Giaquinto up to 2 seconds as Bill Edwards has got around Brandon Buchwald. Buchwald now falling back into 4th. Here's a good recovery. Philip Scott just correct back up into the top 5. Remember, he had all that damage on the Detroit Lions machine. It's almost like he had a fast repair somewhere because looks like he got a lot of that damage fixed, G.
Well, Peter, it wouldn't be shocking if I left fast repairs on, considering I screwed up the start time of the server. But just think it was a good job by that number 99 pit crew, and when you have a pit crew filled with ninjas, they do ninja things, and that includes getting the 99 back into race shape because, like you said, it looks pretty good. You can't even tell it was as banged up and wadded up as it was earlier on tonight.
Will Ratcliffe in the 3 wide TV chats and watching and listening while doing college work. I remember those days. I did not enjoy those days. But there were some things I missed about college, but homework and exams were not the things that I enjoyed about college, let's be honest. But Philip having a good recovery right there with his ninja. There's Matt Weir hugging the wall in the Hugger Oranges machine. Matt Rodriguez falling back into 7th now. He's been a little bit of a yo-yo. Kind of comes out of the gate hot and then starts to fall back, maybe abusing the tires a little bit. Still seeing some right front damage on the number 51 machine. So he doesn't have quite the Ninja pit crew that Ninja Phil does. It looks like he got loose there in turns 1 and 2 as well. So might be starting to really struggle with the handling of that Dodge Intrepid, as we think we're probably about 5 or 6 laps away from green flag pit stops. There's Chuck Sweeting still running halfway down the back stretch. Where's Tom Bourne? He's halfway down the front stretch. So now it looks like Chuck finds himself about a half of a lap behind. So that's still kind of keeping on par with about what I think, where Tom Bourne, at the rate he's going, is going to get about a full lap on Chuck. then it just becomes a question on whether or not the number 16 machine can make that up in pit stops or not, as he flashes across the start-finish line one more time. Bob Giaquinto still second, Bill Edwards still third, Brandon Buchwald has started to really fall off the back. In fact, was that a little bit of right front damage that I saw? Hard to tell with that paint scheme, but I think, yes, that is right front damage for Buchwald. So Buchwald must have had a moment with the outside wall. That might be affecting the pace of his Chevy Impala as he starts to be closed in on by the Detroit Lion of Philip Scott.
Philip's got to be in his happy place right now, Peter, running the high line, just letting it rip out there. I mean, he's a happy camper. And I know he put a lot of practice in for this race, so it's a little bit shocking. I mean, he's running top 5, but when it's Philip Scott, I think top 5's a little disappointing. He's such a talent out there. But like you said, just keep giving a shout out to these guys running inside the top 5. Our buddy Bob and then Brandon Buchwald, and now we have Ninja Phil with some damage. So this has been a fun race as far as strategy. Even going back to Robert Tripp running in the top 10, like we don't get to shout out these guys as often as we'd like to. So it's pretty darn cool as we close in on pit stops. If these guys could just hold these positions, I think we're gonna have some happy campers and some not so happy campers of these guys that are trying this strategy. So I think we gotta get a little past lap 90 for these guys to make it on fuel, Peter. So it's gonna be close.
Yeah, I think if you're like, Mike Tellier already on pit road in his number 97. This might actually be terminal damage for the number 47 rather. Used to run the number 97, but he is on pit road. Not sure what exactly happened here. Mike came on pit road once and then had to come back down onto pit road, so maybe a pit road speeding penalty for Mike, and maybe calling it quits tonight. He's been on pit road now for 4 minutes, so definitely I think that is Mike's night done. So tough break for our Canadians here tonight. The only one still left in the field is Brandon Buchwald, as Buchwald peels onto pit road behind Philip Scott. Don't blame him. Been having that appears to be handling issues ever since some contact with the outside wall, we believe. Didn't see it happen, but we see the aftermath there on the right front of his Chevy. Going to come to his pit crew, and they will go to work on that car. Good entry. Looks like he slid into his box nice and neatly. Looks like no tires on the number 96 here, Garrett. I'm not seeing any, not seeing the right front come up. Seeing him fix damage. Looks like a damage repair only and fuel. That's a bit of a surprise there. Yeah, he's saving that set of tires for later in the race, I'm guessing.
Is it possible he doesn't think he can make it? I mean, you have to be really, really close. The only reason I could see is I guess you're hoping for that late yellow and to have a set of tires that nobody else has. But this, like Peter, like we've talked about, these strategies are all over the place, and it's really going to be anybody's race until we know for sure that nobody has any pit stops left and they got what they got, because in a moment's notice, the yellow could come out and change this thing right up.
So I'm just wondering, maybe we have this whole fuel saving thing backwards, because the number 16 here of Tom Bourne, he pitted on lap number 60. He made it 33 laps. 33 laps from now would get him to the checkered flag. I am starting to think maybe the number 75 decided not to take tires on his last stop, like Chuck. And I'm talking about Chuck Sweeting here. I'm a bit perplexed now. I guess we'll see the number. Where's the number 16? Gotta go find him on pit road. There's Tom Bourne. He's getting a fresh set of tires. You see the left side's going on right now. Is the left side jack is underneath the car, and he's down and away. Now I'm confused, because Bourne was able to make it kind of halfway in that stint. He might have to save fuel under this run, but Garrett, I don't know. Now I'm perplexed.
Yeah, let's just go silent for these last 31 laps, and we'll just we'll come back and we'll do post race. Sound good?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know what's going on. The only thing I could think of is that Chuck Sweeting was either saving a lot of fuel, more fuel than he needed to, or maybe he saved a set of tires.
Maybe we're thinking fuel, but it's actually tires that these guys are holding out on. It's certainly possible.
Either way, we think the number 16 machine of Tom Bourne used his final set of tires, so we think he's out of tires for the night. But we do have Jason Gracias, Jake Bustos, and DJ Weeks all coming to their pit crew right now. The Comans Carrot at a Grand Prix, been a quiet night for him. Same thing with the number 97 on your screen, DJ Weeks. He gets into his pit crew, of course, with the NYPD scheme right there. Of course, last week was September 11th, 1 week ago tonight, and it was great to see those cars with those patriotic schemes. In fact, I'm not really seeing anyone change their paint schemes from last week. I do have trading paints running. I can't guarantee that I do. But, I don't know. I don't know. But, anyway, right now, out there on the racetrack, Tom Bourne has re-inherited the race lead over Philip Scott. Philip, remember, did pit a couple of laps early, so a couple of laps on fresh tires. Garrett, this is what it'll do for you, as it looks like that number 99 battling for the race lead for right now. Philip, is he still in the mix here tonight, Garrett, even with that big accident earlier in the night?
Just trying to make me look bad again, Peter. I said how I was disappointed to see him running in fifth with all the practice he's put in and this type of racetrack that suits his driving style. And there he goes, passing for the lead here on lap 97, coming to lap 98. So not done talking about that 99. Going to get some redemption for the Detroit Lions loss yesterday, hopefully. So, Peter, like I said, we don't know who's got what bullets in the chamber at this point. And if we would have talked a couple laps ago and said the 99 would be leading this race and making a pass on the 16, looked that easy, I think I would have questioned you. But here we are.
Yeah, here we are. Philip Scott, our race leader for the first time here tonight that the number 99 has led over the New York Rangers number 16 of Tom Bourne. Interestingly enough, Mike Tellier did get back out there onto the racetrack. So, Garrett, I'm not sure what his issue was. Maybe just a long repair. We did see a lot of right side damage. Still seeing some evidence of that out there. Maybe he smacked the wall pretty hard. We know that has happened. At least it's happened to me before, but we know that's happened to Mike before. Just catches the outside wall. Well, let's see if we can get some battles a little bit further back in the back. Here's Jason Schue versus Jason Gracias, the 3 versus the 1, as they duke it out here for the 8th position. Gracias whips on by. He will take that away as Jason now trying to run down Brandon Buchwald in the number 96 in front of him. There is Buchwald quite a ways up the road is that Canadian driver, that's for sure. Just looking to see if there's been any speeding penalties or anything like that. Not seeing any out there on the race circuit. Chuck Sweeting, through that whole pit cycle, has got himself back up into the top 6. Trying to close down on Matt Moyer, but he is 7.5 seconds behind Matt. Tom Bourne still our was our race leader. He is now our race leader again as he gets around Philip Scott for the lead.
Well, Philip made it look easy, and now Tom makes it look easy to pass him back. So they got, they got 24 laps to figure this out. But I think you'd like to be in the position of the 16. It seems like he's played everything right so far, and these guys like Chuck Sweeting and the guys behind them seem like they're gonna need some help to get back into contention in this thing.
Yeah, Tom Bourne now back out front as Philip almost caught the wall there off of turn number 4. Able to stay off of it, battling their retaliators. Uh-oh, Tom Bourne having connection issues. The hood flew off, but that was just an artifact of the connection. That looked pretty funny. But Tom Bourne still out front. I was about to say, I hope our race leader didn't fall out of the session. We've seen that happen before. We saw that most recently here on 3Wide TV in a road course race in the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series on Thursday nights, at least in the races that I broadcasted here on the channel, when Philip Scott himself had to leave Garrett because there was a tornado warning in Michigan.
Yeah, that's not really the place you think about when you think of tornado warnings, and it certainly did happen. I was in the field that night, and Philip was running away with that race, and then all of a sudden he was gone, and I didn't know what happened until after the race. It was explained that he had the tornado warning and had to seek shelter. That's like something that Johnny would come up with, Peter.
Well, maybe Johnny was, we were trying to figure out maybe why Johnny has back problems, but hopefully
Peter,
Johnny's back does
You
get
wished
better.
him well on lap 69. Say no more. I understand what went on. At his age, he shouldn't be doing such things.
Well, I'll tell you what, my back has problems too. Maybe that's why I'm not out there on the racetrack. Because the one time that I went out there on the racetrack this season at Rockingham, it was not pretty. I ended up wrecking one of them hugger. I just wanted to hug the orange. That's what I wanted to do.
And who can blame you? Really, they're great looking cars, and these guys are having great seasons. Matt Muir is getting better and better each week. He was saying on the Discord that he pretty much buys each track as we get to it. That's how little experience he has, and he's been very impressive this season. As talented as he is doing graphic design, his racing talent is certainly catching up. I think a lot of credit goes to the teammates he has keeping him up to speed, and the sky is the limit. Right now, running the top 5, he's got to be pretty happy with his efforts tonight.
Yeah, that number 77, like you said, as I realized my mic was muted. That number 77, like you said, improving week to week here in the Schue's Lawn Care Cup Series here on 3Y TV. Of course, I want to give a big shout out here as we're down to 19 laps to go to some of our other series sponsors, Dene Jewelers. Garrett, if you're in the market for some new fancy jewelry for maybe a significant other or yourself, whatever the case may be, Dene Jewelers, go check them out. Go check out their Facebook page as well as their webpage. Pretty cool stuff that they have on hand up in the northeast portion of the United States of America. Of course, Talking Giants, I don't know if we should call them Talking Giants anymore or just Smacking Giants. Maybe that's what I'm doing. Smacking Giants, talking smack about those Giants here on 3Y. At least that's what I do in my chair. I am very glad geographically Garrett Gleason is nowhere close to me, because otherwise I would probably be knocked out on the floor by now.
Yeah, that's quite the stretch, Peter. I certainly love you enough to the point where you can say whatever you want about my Giants. And the first thing I did today, I woke up 6 a.m. when my alarm went off. I've never hit the snooze button in my life. I'm 33 years old. And I put on Talking Giants and started my day with it was almost a doomsday podcast, but it turned into a, hey, we actually played well in the second half podcast. So Talking Giants this time of year. Stay tuned sports podcast with Jimbo. If you're an Eagles fan, I don't know if there are any, but you can certainly give Jimbo some love. Jimbo's a great guy and does great things for Total Nonstop Racing and SRA as well.
Out there on the racetrack, battle for third between Bob Giaquinto and Bill Edwards. This is a good battle for position between the number 23 and the number 5. Bob pitted on lap number 92, same lap as Bob as Bill Edwards. I almost called him Bob Edwards. But Bob and Bill here on the racetrack. Bill leading Bob in at least the current scoring pylon. The number 5 has put together a good run here tonight. Haven't seen Bob's family in the chat here tonight. Usually we see Bob's family in the chat. If you're watching the Windsors, hopefully you're having a good night. And rooting on Bill as he tries to track down a podium. Meanwhile, back behind him, we had highlighted that Chuck Sweeting was up in 6th position, but actually he's been passed by Johnny Eckert. The number 90 has, I think, worked his way on by quite some ways, too. Eckert working his way off into turn number 1 and 2 right now. Chuck Sweeting about a half corner behind. Still not seeing any damage on those cars. They still look nice and clean, but at least for right now, advantage to Johnny Eckert. They still find themselves about 17.3 seconds behind Tom Bourne. That is quite a big gap, although Eckert side by side with Matt Muir. This is a battle for the 5th position. Give it to Johnny Eckert. He closed in on Muir in a hurry, and the number 77, we were just talking about him a couple of laps ago, has now slid back to 6th.
Yeah, a little difference between the top 5 and finishing 6th. You certainly fight with all you got for that top 5, but it's not the first opportunity Matt's going to have for a top 5, and it certainly won't be the last. But Bob still racing up here, racing Bill Edwards, who's having another sneaky good run up here on the podium in the top 3. But that number 23 has, Peter, I thought about it. I was gonna talk about the racing. It's the new bathroom. That's what's doing it for him. He's much more comfortable. He's being able to relieve himself without some issues he might have been having with the old bathroom, and it's showing up on the racetrack. It's common sense.
Yeah, it definitely has to be the new bathroom. There's nothing new about Bob Giaquinto but the bathroom. The bathroom has to be the difference. I don't think there's any other thing you can credit it to, but the new toilet. And
you still have a bidet in there, Peter? You think the bidet is maybe doing it? You give him a little spritz.
It's giving it's giving him a little bit extra step in his morning. Instead of listening to Talking Giants in the morning to wake him up, it just sits down. That little bidet does its magic and invigorates him for the whole day. Makes him fast in a race car too.
Yep, that's the secret. I'll be starting a demo on my bathroom tomorrow. I'll figure out my racing career. It's better late than never, I suppose. This is just a fun battle. Two guys just probably laughing and smiling the whole time. We know Bill's always out there for the fun aspect, and Bob. I mean, Bob's gonna be happy with a 4th place finish if he could bring this thing home. So it's pretty cool, Peter. And I'm always good for an underdog story, and that's not to discount the talent of any of these guys, but man, Bob running in the top 5, that's warming my heart just a little bit.
Yeah, I thought Bob used to do live streams on Twitch for these races. I don't know if he still does. I was wondering if...
Is he sitting on the toilet? That's what you're wondering, because that's what I was thinking. I just don't want to say it.
That's exactly what I was trying to find out. But unfortunately, I can't seem to find Bob Giaquinto's Twitch page beyond Tabletop Trios. So I don't know. Hopefully we get a picture this week on Tabletop Trio, maybe of the new toilet that's giving him all these new advantages. I'm curious to know exactly what all it entails.
I actually just started laughing. I'm like, yeah, these guys are 10 laps to go. We're having a great race. They're talking about Bob's toilet. But that's just what we do here on 3YTV, Total Nonstop Racing. And Bill's not really able to pull away as much as I anticipated from this 23. So there is some genuine speed in these race cars. These guys are just not doing it on strategy. They're running in the top 5 because they do have speed with the strategy. So again, pretty cool to see. Just I'm looking here throughout our top 10, just other guys we expected, but like we were talking about, Chuck Sweeting, Jason Gracias, 6th place, 8th place. These guys aren't happy with those runs. Jason comes here to win. Chuck is a perennial contender for wins. It's just not adding up tonight for these guys. The strategy just maybe went a little sideways on them.
Yeah, Chuck's still in 6th. Did get past Matt Muir, though. He was in 7th, so Jason Gracias then trying to run down Matt Muir in the closing stages. But speaking of closing stages, we're down just 6 laps to go, and this is the best battle on the racetrack. These two actually closing in just a fraction on Philip Scott. Philip's on pit road. Philip's out of fuel. The number 99 is coming down onto pit road. Garrett with 5 laps to go. Now the big question is, what about Bob? What about Bill? What about Tom? Do they have enough fuel to make it to the end of the race?
All right, Peter, I'll start killing time. You start doing the math. See what lap Philip pitted on and all these rest of these guys, and you're going to tell me when you get back on the mic here who's going to make it, who's not going to make it. We've found the strategy, Peter. These guys may not be able to make it on fuel. Johnny Eckert past Chuck Sweeting might be in position if these other guys run out to sneak and win this thing. This is going to be a crazy last 4 laps, but
4 laps to go. Philip Scott just now leaving his pit stall. You see him down there. That's going to drop the number 99 to 12th, 1 lap down. He pitted 3 laps, I believe, before Tom Bourne, 2 laps before these two, and the 23 and the number 5. So is Bill and Bob saving enough fuel to make it the rest of the way on fuel? We'll say that the gap between Chuck Sweeting and Tom Bourne has dropped. It was about 17 seconds, now down to just 11. So Tom might be trying to save some fuel. Johnny Eckert is about 8 seconds behind Bob Giaquinto. So Bob and Bill both have room to save a little bit of fuel if they have to. But we're coming to 2 laps to go this time. Of course, one thing about Philip Scott, G, is he did have some damage. Remember, he did have that damage on the number 99 machine. That might be hurting the fuel mileage on his Detroit Lions machine. So that might have been one of the reasons why he had to come down on pit road immediately as quick as he could. Maybe just not getting the fuel mileage as some of these other race cars out there. As Bill Edwards continues to stay out there on the racetrack. Tom Bourne out front. He has a 7-second lead over Edwards. So he can save some fuel if he wants to. He can back it down and really slow it down here. He can lose about 2 seconds, make that 7 seconds on the next lap, and still go to victory lane as the white flag is in the air here in the Get Will Vinny Get Will Johnny 188 as Edwards and Giaquinto still stay out there on the racetrack. That battle for second is red hot up at the front of the field. Will any of these drivers run out of fuel? Only time will tell. Bourne at least made it 1 lap longer than these two under that last run, so we know he's got enough fuel in the tank if these two have already made it. But coming through turn number 3 and 4th, the final time here tonight. Tom Bourne gonna win here at Kansas. Bill Edwards gonna come home in second. Bob Giaquinto rounding out our podium. Johnny Eckert and Chuck Sweeting 4th and 5th. Garrett, what a podium here tonight.
This is an exciting podium. This is a crazy running order, and I can't wait to hear about these differing strategies and how close these guys were to running out of fuel at the end. Peter, I am shocked. When I saw the 99 run out of fuel there and need to make that pit stop, I thought these top 3 were absolutely doomed, but you might have hit the nail on the head that maybe that damage caused the 99 a little bit of an issue there as far as fuel mileage goes. But doesn't matter how you got there. The number 16 New York Rangers machine is going to victory lane tonight here at Kansas.
Yeah, unlike those New York Giants getting to celebrate here on the French Touch. I mean, the Giants did win, but they beat the Cards. I mean, no one expected the Cards to be even good. Everyone thought that the Cards were going to tank this season and really just try and get the best pick in the next NFL draft. But the New York Rangers looking nice and fine here with the all the stars on that number 16. Kind of a patriotic scheme as well. FRN there, to Flat Out Racing Network on the rear deck lid. That's a good looking number 16. Great job by Tom Bourne here tonight to get the dub. Got a couple of wins so far this season. Been looking good, and of course going to be looking good as we start to move in towards the chase for the championship here on 3 Wide TV.
Yeah, we're certainly almost there as far as our chase for the championship goes, and these this race and obviously is over now, and the next week's race is pretty much it. So you're getting your points, you're getting your wins. Every win you get, that's bonus points, and you want to get those stage points and get yourself in the good championship position, and that's what these guys are all setting out to do, because you don't have many more opportunities, and like we said, after this week there's only one opportunity left to maximize those points, and we'll see how it all shakes out. Top 8 will advance. You don't want to be that guy in 9th place and wishing you did something different in one of these races, maybe a little different strategy, one spot here, one spot there. It all adds up. I mean, we always talk about points, and people might think, oh, that's ridiculous, these guys are talking about points in race 1, race 2, but when it comes to race 12, you might need a spot here and there that you gave up earlier on in the season.
All right, well, let's see if we can get some post-race interviews. Garrett, let's why don't you take it away with tonight's 3rd place finisher, Bob Giaquinto.
Bob, I'm here working with Peter on how to pronounce your last name properly, but there's no time for that right now. We want to talk about that fantastic 3rd place run but you're a professional broadcaster. Tell us how you did it, what your strategy was. I'm here. I just want to listen to you talk.
Oh man, honestly, I have no idea how I was able to stay up there. It all started with that last yellow right at the stage break, and everyone wound up coming down pit road. I was going to too, but I didn't want to give. I think it was the 72, whoever I was behind. I didn't want to give them a black flag for passing under yellow. Didn't want to run them over coming to pit road, so I said, "All right." I dug my grave. I'll restart third, and somehow I was able to stay up front. And that entire last fuel run, I clutched in for pretty much every single lap, and somehow ran out coming out of two after the checkered.
Wow, turn two after the checkered. That was that close, and that that was a heck of a run. And I think that just proves that other than my lack of broadcasting talent, that proves that I'm supposed to be up here and you're supposed to be on the track, because you definitely have something to show us out there. Good run, something you needed for points. And Peter and I don't even want to talk about racing. We want to talk about the bathroom. And is that the difference in did that make the difference in your run tonight?
I think it is. I'm channeling my rage because it still has yet to be finished. About a month into it, which is a whole other story. And I think I'm just channeling that rage into driving a pretend race car in circles. So, I mean, if it works, we might have to keep the bathroom in the state that it is now.
Well, that's certainly something. But Peter and I still want to be invited to the bathroom warming party. But I mean,
you guys are going to be on the VIP list. Don't worry about that.
Oh, I feel honored, actually. Headed till Milwaukee next week. You finished tonight off with a podium. What are your thoughts on Milwaukee? And do you think we could maybe get the interview again next week?
Yeah, there's going to be a very slim to no chance of chatting with me there. Milwaukee's not one of my best tracks, not one of my favorite tracks either. It's just so tough for me to get into the corner. I miss the corner like 8.5 times out of 10. So we'll see how it goes next week. But, I'm just really glad. This might actually be one of my best career TNR finishes ever. So I'll take it.
Well, if you rewatch the broadcast, you'll see how happy and proud both Peter and I were, and rooting you on as you led the race at the halfway point
and talked about bidets.
Yeah, ended up with the podium. But before we let you go, if you'd like to give a shout out to your fans and friends and family, and also let everybody know where we can find you in the Tabletop Trio, boys.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, first of all, to you guys here at Through Eyed TV. You guys always do an awesome job in the broadcast booth. Guys at Tabletop Trio, check us out wherever you find podcasts or tabletoptrio.com. Got a lot of cool stuff coming up. In October, we're going to be at the Saucetoberfest 2023 at Lone Eagle Brewing in Flemington, New Jersey. So if you're in the area, make sure you swing by and say hi. And all the other folks involved with doing this, my own YouTube channel, just look for my name, Bob Giaquinto, and it'll be there. I usually stream these races live myself as well. So, I'll do that from my POV and all that. But again, yeah, thanks for having me on.
Well, anytime you finish top three, we're obligated to have you on. So start finishing top three, and maybe we'll talk to you a little bit more.
Yeah, here's hoping.
All right, Bob, congratulations. And I will throw this down to my broadcast partner, Peter Short, who is caught up with Bill Edwards. And Peter, let's make it quick. It's past his bedtime.
Yeah, it is maybe a little bit past Bill's bedtime, but Bill was pretty quick out there here tonight in that number 5 machine, saving just enough fuel to make it to the checkered flag there, Bill. Congrats on tonight's runner-up position. Tell us about your race.
Oh, it's kind of crazy. I felt pretty quick out there. I was just running away, just running as fast as I could. And then, we started talking, looking at the fuel mileage, and Tom was talking about he was saving, and I looked, and there was no way I was going to make it. So I was shutting the car off in every corner from about halfway through the race, as soon as I noticed, and, just barely squeaked out enough to bring it across the line. I ran out right when I hit the start finish line. But it was fun. I felt quick. It turned into a fuel mileage race, and I'll take second.
Some of those fuel mileage races are the best as you're managing not only fuel, but a car right behind you that really, really, really wanted to get second here tonight. Tell us about your battle there in the closing stages with Bob.
It was a struggle between looking at the fuel mileage and knowing that he was coming. I was just doing, it is like playing chess. I just doing just enough to stay in front of him without hopefully running out before I got to the line. So, yeah, I honestly didn't think I was going to make it, and I was shutting it off a lot. And yeah, somehow I squeaked through just enough. Maybe I got a little lucky because I remembered to fill up the roll bars with fuel before we started. So.
There you heard it, Garrett. Filling
Got
up roll bar. Yep, you heard it right there. That's illegal. Bill, you won't be allowed to race next week at Milwaukee, but
Actually, we'll just make him race twice next week. We'll really torture him.
there we go. There we go. Unless you love Milwaukee. Do you love Milwaukee, Bill?
It's not my favorite, but it's not bad.
Oh, then make him run it 3 times, Garrett. Make him run it 3 times.
I like North Wilkesboro more, but Milwaukee's not bad. I've never been that great at the flat tracks. I've never even tried one really with this car, so we'll see how it goes.
Bill,
I'm sure it'll be fine.
I rarely say anything nice about you, but every time we interview you, and I can just see how genuinely happy you are, for a second I actually want to hang out with you because I think it would be fun. But then I remember
just a second, just one.
Then I remember I don't have that in me.
Well, we have to do like a Teams meeting or something sometime. Then we're not really hanging out still, and you can.
Oh
still,
God!
You don't
Please,
have to tell nobody.
Let's not talk about Teams meetings at 8:37 in the evening. I've had to live through that a couple times here today. But Bill, good race for you here tonight. A good points night as well. A strong, solid finish before we move off into the chase here in a couple of weeks. I know you got some shout outs, so let's hear them.
Oh, well, Garrett, are we doing the Wisconsin cheese 150 or 250 or whatever the heck it is next week?
Whatever you want it to be. You let Peter know he's the professional. He'll label it, and if you can make a graphic, that's even better.
Yep, I can do that. Let's do that, and then we can all paint our car like cheese. It's the plan.
All right. Well, make the announcement. You're an administrator. Make an announcement. You want some cheese cars. Maybe get some different types of cheese. And
I need a list of every driver and their favorite type of cheese next week. That's the gimmick we're gonna have on 3 Wide TV. Everyone's favorite type of cheese.
All right, sounds like a plan.
It can be everywhere from Swiss to Cheetos dust. I don't care. Just your favorite type of cheese.
I just laughed so hard at Cheetos dust. I have no idea where you got that from. That made me laugh.
Oh, yep. Sounds like a plan. Wisconsin cheese. Well, how many overlaps it is? All right. Yeah, I got to give a shout out to my mom for watching. Garrett, Peter, you up in the booth. TNR, 3Y TV, Shoes Lawn Care Service. Got to give a big shout out to Mike and Tom and all those boys for letting me sit in there. I probably would have been towards the back of the field running out with an extra stop if I wasn't sitting in there. And those guys are really great with the strategy, so I appreciate them letting me hang out. Give a shout out to S2R. Got to say hi to my mom. That should do it.
All right. Well, Bill, congratulations on your runner-up finish here tonight. We'll see you next week in the cheesy race.
Sounds good. Have a good one, guys.
All right. Well, we'll let our second place finisher, Bill Edwards, go celebrate. And I believe Garrett Gleason has caught up with tonight's race winner, Tom Bourne. Garrett.
Tom, congratulations on the win tonight. Strategy was all over the place. Peter and I had the most obnoxious type of broadcast, not knowing what the strategies were. We were just making stuff up as we went along. You seem to have it all figured out. Tell us how you figured it all out tonight out there.
Well, I really didn't figure it out until probably after the stage caution. I knew the 3 sets of tires was rough. I definitely think if we had at least 4, we would have done something different. But I knew that we had to. It was going to be a 3-stop race, and we were going to try and, well, at least 3-stop race taking tires, and we were going to try to just make it on the 3 stops and go from there. And we were sitting in a good position before that last caution we had to run longer than everyone, where we can just end up hitting one more time and not have to worry about saving. And we ended up getting that last caution to kind of just top off and everything and go from there. But overall, it was definitely a tough one to kind of figure out. Just making sure that we had enough fuel. I ended the race with a lap of fuel left. Some of my teammates, they ran out at the line. I know Bill was saying he ended up, I think he ran out right at the line or right after. And it was just whoever could do it best. And I saw Chuck do it. I think he did it on the final restart. And I was like, okay, I got to do it too. And somehow just found speed while doing it and was able to pull away.
And pull away you did. 7-second lead goes into the TNR record books. You're about fifth or so in points, 3 wins on the season as we head into our last race of the regular season next week at the Milwaukee Mile. What are your thoughts going into Milwaukee? Obviously, those 3 wins are going to give you 5 bonus points apiece. You think you could add a 4th?
With the competition that's looming with these top guys that are in top points, I know Bronson is always fast. Me and him go back and forth trying to figure out what to do different with the car and everything every week. Chuck's always fast. Philip, he's up and down, but I know he's fast. I've raced with him for many, many years. Ultimately, I'm not a fan of Milwaukee. I never have been. But I feel like as long as we come out of there with a solid finish, get some stage points, and go from there, I feel like it'll be able to build a lot of momentum to the playoffs or the chase format, however you want to call it. But overall, we're just looking for a solid finish. I definitely don't think I'm going to win. I might lead some laps, but other than that, I'm just aiming for a top 5 next week.
Top 5 would not be the worst thing in the world and certainly put you in a good position, but you're pretty much solid, locked in. So I would say go for the win. Maybe play a crazy strategy and hope it works out like it did this week, and you'll end up in victory lane all over again. Before we let you go to celebrate your win, if you'd like to give a shout out to your family, friends, sponsors, and thank Peter and I for something too, because that always makes us feel good.
Well, I mean, I first off, I got to thank you guys for putting on a broadcast every week, and Garrett for having me come back and everything and run the Gen 4 stuff. It's a lot of fun. I ran a car from last week with the New York Rangers on it, and I was going to run it for 9/11 and everything. Unfortunately, didn't get to race it, but we brought it here tonight. Thankful for them coming on the car. Fire News, Ghost Energy, and I know I'm forgetting. I know I'm forgetting a Reaper Apparel. That's it. That's the sponsor I was forgetting. They're always great to have on the car. We'll have Ghost back on the car next week. Sky Motorsports for putting together another fast car, whether I was saving fuel or not. It was a rocket ship. Sucks for Bronson that he ended up getting taken out. Ultimately, just pick it up, and mainly just my beautiful fiance, Melissa. She's always supporting me, whether I'm racing or I'm not, and I wouldn't be able to do what I do without her. And just everybody's watching. And, hopefully we put on a show, and hopefully we can do the same thing next week. And, you know what, Garrett? I might take you up on that offer, and I might be talking to you guys next week again.
Well, yeah, I like to hear that because we asked Bob if he wanted to talk to us next week. He told us no. So, Tom, we're going to hold you to that. We want to talk to you next week, at least in the top 3, if not in victory lane again. Congratulations. And if you keep this up, I'm sure you're going to have even more sponsors to thank. But hopefully you just keep the one fiance, maybe make her a wife at some point. But let's stick to the multiple sponsors and only one significant other, if you don't mind.
Listen, I'll gladly take multiple sponsors, multiple wins. I'll stick with one fiance though. I feel like she'd get very upset at me if I had another one. And ultimately, but the only problem is, last time I said I hope I talk to you guys next week, I ended up wrecking out. So hopefully we can change that.
Well, we look forward to next week and you changing that, and maybe we'll get a chance to talk to you. But for now, enjoy your victory. You certainly earned it, and it was a great race to watch. I hope everybody watches this back and just sees the different strategies and sees how you pulled this one off, because it was a pretty incredible race.
Yeah, I one of the best races I've been a part of in a little while.
All right, awesome. We'll see you next week, and I guess I'll throw it back to Peter Short as he gives us the final rundown.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All right, yeah, a great race here tonight, up and down the field. Definitely some finishing results that we are not often used to, but that's what we love about this series. It is so competitive week after week. Taking home the win here tonight, we just spoke with him. Tom Bourne in the number 16 machine. Bill Edwards coming home in second. Bob Giaquinto rounding out our podium here tonight. Johnny Eckert finishing in fourth in the number 90 machine. His fuel-saving strategy not exactly working out. Same with Chuck Sweeting finishing in fifth. Matt Weir, good run for the number 77 in the sixth spot. Jason Gracias in seventh. Jake Bustos and DJ Weeks 8th and 9th. And Robert Tripp getting a top 10 here tonight. Jason Schue in 11th. I think he was finally scored one lap down, as was Robert Tripp in front of him. Philip Scott had to make that late pit stop for a splash of fuel, finishing in 12th. Jonathan Gaston, we spoke with him earlier in the race, had a wounded horse all pretty much for the last 2/3 of the race, finishing in 13th. Matthew Rodriguez finishing in 14th. Not sure exactly what happened to him. Maybe a speeding penalty for the number 51, but definitely had to make a late race pit stop. And unfortunately for him, 14th is the best he can do. Brandon Buchwald, he finishes 15th, a couple of laps down. Jamar Dumas in 16th, a rough night for him. Then Mike Tellier, still not sure exactly what happened to put him on pit road for an extended stay, about 2/3 of the race through. And Bronson Stafford coming home in 18th here tonight. So it was a wild one here at Kansas. I think 4 caution flags here tonight, but they cleaned it up for the back half of the race, and that made it all fine and dandy, Garrett. And looking forward to what next week brings at Milwaukee.
Yeah, last race of the regular season. These guys are going to leave it all out there. Maybe somebody could sneak a win, get themselves in that final points position, but we shall see. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. Our series sponsor, Jason Schue, all our other league sponsors, and certainly get well to Vinny and Johnny. Have different ailments going on, but we certainly miss those guys, part of the TNR family, and we're not the same without you guys here. So get well soon, guys.
Yeah, big shout out to Stay Tuned Sports, Danae Jewelers, Talkin' Giants, and of course Schue's Lawn Care Service that sponsors the Schue Lawn Care Service Cup Series here in the Total Nonstop Racing League. But for myself, Peter Short, and everyone here in the 3-Wide TV fold, including Garrett Gleason alongside me, stay safe and all that good stuff, and we shall see ya!